We found just with a basic search of the Social Security database that there were 20 million dead people marked as alive.
But were they getting money?
Some of them are getting money.
What percentage of them?
It isn't clear. We're actually trying to run this through. I was trying to get an answer right before the show.
Over 130,000 people, according to the Social Security databases, are age over 160 years old.
What could Elon Musk and President Trump be referring to here?
So this is really interesting. Elon Musk posted a screenshot of a database over the weekend, and this database claimed to show evidence of people over 150 years old receiving payments. Now, there are two theories. We spoke to some experts, and there are two theories that seem to be the most plausible. It's possible what he was looking at was a database of everyone who's ever been issued a Social Security number. So that wouldn't mean that they're receiving payments. It's just that they received a Social Security number and their death record was never put in. Another one, which is the Social Security Administration uses a very old programming code called COBOL. And essentially, there are a lot of people in the system who put in their information before any of these digital records. So their birth date isn't actually in the system. So if this old programming language doesn't have your birth date, it defaults your birthday to 1875, which would make you 150 years old this year.
And Trump wants to privatize Social Security. That is the goal, to get rich people richer off of our backs.
Cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old.
What Elon Musk is saying is so ridiculous. Anyone who knows the program knows it's absurd. He's showing both his ignorance, but also his design to undermine confidence in the program.
Now, this is the lie that the Trump administration has sold when they said they weren't going to touch Social Security. What they meant was they're going to fire employees and make it so ineffective and inefficient that the population gets behind Project 2025's push to privatize Social Security.
Social Security has nothing to do with the deficit. Social Security is totally funded by the payroll tax levied on employer and employee. If you reduce the outgo of Social Security, that money would not go into the general fund to reduce a deficit. It would go into the Social Security Trust Fund.
You know that the Republican Party has been wanting to privatize Social Security since forever. I started looking into sovereign wealth funds. Sovereign wealth funds are usually used for surpluses in countries. They're going to use our Social Security Trust Fund to put it into a sovereign wealth fund to bypass our Congress, because Congress, as we know, has the power of the purse. Donald Trump is going to use Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick to help him, and those are the Department of Treasury and the Department of Commerce. This is exactly what Donald Trump and the Heritage Foundation, America First Policy Institute, and some Republicans have been talking about for a long time.
I think they're going to loot the Social Security fund and use that money to invest in this new wealth fund that Donnie just created. You know, they wanted to privatize Social Security for forever now, and thinking that this is their alternative, because sovereign wealth funds are for countries with surplus money to invest. And so where is this investment money coming from? What they want to do is steal the people's Social Security money and to invest it in a fund that none of us have approved of.
Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't know. Okay.
The Social Security Administration is very careful about who gets benefits, and in fact, if you really were concerned about fraud, you wouldn't fire the Inspector General, which is one of the first things that Trump and Musk did. The reality is there is no one who has died who's getting benefits. Social Security is incredibly efficiently run. Elon Musk has directed the General Services Administration to terminate all federal leases. That's 1,200 field offices.
The Social Security Administration plans to cut 7,000 jobs, reducing its workforce to 50,000. Experts warn that with fewer staff, processing claims could take longer and mistakes in payments might increase. This could make it harder for millions of Americans, especially retirees and people with disabilities, to get their benefits on time.
So instead of trying to catch fraud, they're going to increase fraud.
Those actions threaten an interruption of benefits, according to Social Security's ex-head of the agency. Social Security has never missed a benefit payment since the program first began. This was more than 8 decades ago. But the recent actions at the U.S. Social Security Administration by Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency are putting monthly benefit checks for more than 72.5 million Americans at risk, according to the former commissioner and former Maryland governor, Martin O'Malley. Ultimately, you're going to see the system collapse and an interruption of benefits, O'Malley said. I believe you will see that within the next 30 to 90 days. And he suggests that people should start saving now.
I've never missed a payment in more than 80 years, but your benefit checks might not show up next month. The former Social Security Commissioner, Martin O'Malley, warned today that the slash and burn tactics of the world's richest man, Elon Musk, and his Department of Governmental Efficiency would soon disrupt the system. O'Malley saying, quote, "You're going to see the system collapse and an interruption of benefits. I believe you will see that within the next 30 to 90 days. He added, people should start saving now.
72.5 million people receive Social Security benefits. And out of those 72.5 million, 56 million of them are elderly. And they absolutely rely on those benefits. A lot of them will not survive if they go a month without a check.
So Musk and Republicans are trying to plunder Social Security for their own benefit, which, if you don't know, the majority of the $36 trillion of debt that America holds is borrowed from Social Security Fund. It is not owed to China, as many people think.
From someone who is inside the Social Security Administration, essentially a whistleblower, and what they are saying is that if we do not stop Elon Musk and Doge very quickly, we're looking at the collapse of the entire Social Security Administration, the system, the whole thing. And it's going to be real hard to bring it back once it's gone. What I posted last night are screenshots of text messages that were sent by someone who works as a Fed, and they are really worried about what's happening at SSA. They start by saying, I'm someone with firsthand knowledge and I am witnessing the Social Security Administration being actively dismantled over the past 2 weeks. Said these recent illegal actions of the new acting commissioner are certain to collapse the system. Please ring the alarm bells. The person then basically says, you've got to call your senators and your representatives, you've got to get your friends and family involved, get the media involved, whatever you have to do, this is really urgent. They then say, Doge and Trump know that public opinion is not on their side. Social Security is very popular, so they are quietly dismantling piece by piece with the hopes that media coverage will be light, the public will be in the dark, and there won't be any pushback while they destroy America's social safety net. This person then says, if you want to call your representatives about this, by the way, let me give you some more examples. Start with probationary attorney-level decision writers who are responsible for assisting administrative law judges who were just terminated at a time when the agency has massive backlogs in cases. About how the new acting commissioner gloated about firing 14 employees as an accomplishment. Those exits actually got some news coverage. Says 3, the entire Office of Transformation and its 60-plus employees were dissolved. Their purpose was to promote agency-wide efficiencies, right? Like we're supposed to be looking for efficiencies, but they just fired the efficiency people. They also just dissolved the entire Office of Civil Rights and Equal Opportunity with its 190 employees. Component heads and executives were told to draft plans to slash administrative staff by 50%. 50%. They also sent an email threatening massive reorganization of the Social Security Administration, followed with significant workforce reduction. The email pressured seasoned employees, even frontline employees, with monetary incentives to resign or take early retirement. And they also threatened to fire employees for cause should they not retire or resign. Number 7, executive staff responsible for overseeing regional field office operations were terminated. One region had all but 3 out of 72 staff members terminated, and it's very likely that the other 10 regions had similar terminations. Why? They have taken those 10 regions and consolidated them to 4. They're doing all of this because of what they call a bloated workforce and organization structure, even though staffing at the Social Security Administration is the lowest it's been in 50 years. The terminations are happening swiftly and often late in the day to avoid bringing attention to any media or congressional attention to them. They said that these kinds of cuts will topple the agency. It's like a Jenga tower. You take enough blocks out, the whole thing falls. The goal is to cause the department to collapse without it being obvious. As the former head of the agency said just on Friday, ultimately you're going to see the system collapse and an interruption of benefits. I believe you will see that within the next 30 to 90 days.
To the Social Security Administration's website while it's still up. Download or screenshot all of your information. How much money you're going to draw at 65 and 70, how much money you've paid in. Just download it and keep it somewhere safe.
Now you're finding out, you dumb fucking idiots. Now you're just figuring this shit out. You're so fucking stupid and you deserve it.
Y'all wanted to play the fuck around game so goddamn badly. Well, you are fixing to find out very bigly.